we will go to war.
What's up, fellas? How y'all feeling today?
Yeah,
Good,
good.
good.
It's a pleasure to have you both. Yes, I'm Najee Chambers from Big O Belt Media. Very excited to talk all things Godfather of Harlem season 4. Erik and Elvis, thank you so much for your time. So much I want to cover today, but let's just get right into it. And before we talk about Godfather of Harlem, excuse me, Elvis, let me make a quick detour because I want to give you your props with Mr. Crockett. And the short and sweet question here is, are we getting that sequel?
That's a good question. Yeah, we're working on it. We're trying to put together the proper storyline for a part two of Mr. Crockett. We really want to be able to tell his story, how he became Mr. Crockett. You got a little bit of that in the first film, but I think we want to explore that more deeper and bring more goriness to a part two because one of the good things about social media is that the viewers, if they kind of been telling us what they want to see in a part two. So we're trying to incorporate all of those elements, but it's in the works.
My God, love that update. Now, congratulations to you both. I've been on this journey since season 1, since the epic days. And, this is one of the shows that if you were there, you knew how good it was. And you two been on the show since day 1, so you knew how good the show was. But as the show continued to grow, as we continued to got more seasons, as the visibility started to grow, more and more of the world started to come along. And now it is no secret how damn good this show is. I just want to know for you both, what has been that emotional journey with something that I know you all were very proud of, and it was again once at a point the best kept secret to now everybody is celebrating because they know what it is.
That's a good question because I don't think you really ever know, at least for us, as actors, it's a blessing to be part of 4 seasons, but one thing I did know going in was the figure of Elworth Bumpy Johnson and that whole time period and how meaningful and how the name just resonates through all New York, whether you're in Brooklyn or in Queens or in Manhattan, someone has heard about Bumpy Johnson in one way or another. So just knowing that going in, okay, we're going to be telling the story of this man, this individual that people still talk about. During the research, there were like videos that you could find on YouTube. Folks in their 80s or in the late 80s who were
Yeah.
talking about, oh yeah, they went to school because of Bumpy Johnson's contribution and pay their college. But then you also see movies, like American Gangster and Denzel's Washington's portrayal of Frank Lucas, and then that becomes a whole other story. So you're going to be part of something,
Yeah.
but then as you're there and you're starting to see script after script after script, and you started to see how all of these arcs and how these characters are being developed slowly but surely, and then you're like, okay, all right, I think we got something here going.
Yeah.
And then just the whole aspect of like I personally didn't know, even though I knew about Bumpy Johnson, but I was not privy to the information of his relationship with Malcolm X
Yeah.
and Adam Powell and
Yeah.
Vincent the Chin Gigante. Like, oh yeah, you kind of hear that from afar that he was this badass gangster, you
Yeah.
know, that did the things he did, but then you get to hear and get to know that there was these other connections to the man. So yeah, I mean, as we keep moving forward, we keep seeing more storylines and more development that just keeps, enriching, the story.
Right on. Eric, listen, I'm gonna add a little bit more to that question for you because as Elvis mentioned, yeah, when you talk about the Bumpy Johnsons, you add the Frank Lucas, the Afeni Shakur, I mean the list goes on and on and on. At the core of this show is the heart between the Brotherhood of Chance and Pettigrew. You all have really blessed our screens now for 4 seasons with so much good banter. Y'all going on the outlandish missions, but I mean if there's one thing at core that we all can respect is the loyalty from day 1, even to which essentially could have been at any given point you all's demise, but it didn't matter. You always stood 10 toes down. I just want to know for you, if you could speak a little bit about working with your brother Elvis, building these characters over the years and just what that journey has meant to you.
Well, just off of what Elvis said, you never know what a show is going to do, and but from the beginning, for me, just the show being helmed by Forrest Whitaker, I was like, you can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong. I want to be a part of this. I mean, when I saw him on The Last King of Scotland, won his Academy for that, I was like, man, this man is, he's a force, and I want to be associated with any project. And yeah, I'm on board, and it's just been a blessing but I'm not surprised, because of, the strength of this man's character. I'm not surprised that, here we are in season 4. So thank you, Forrest. Thank you.
Yeah.
Elvis and I, Elvis, what do we say, man? It's been
It's been.
it's been I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't start, where we started and where we are now has been a growth period,
Yeah.
I don't think we knew too much about each other when we first started. It was sort of like, a game of, juggling, what position, where position, where we're going to position ourselves. And I don't think I liked Elvis when we first started. I didn't like him at all, but now he's like my best friend. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
that just thank you, my brother, man, for being a part, of this show with me. And I really do enjoy working with you. And like I said, Mr. Chambers, it's been a growth period, but it's been a fun journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we both, I completely agree with you, on that, the early beginnings. And I
Yeah.
think it was just a matter of us just trying to figure it out on our own, And did we finally figure it out? And how did we figure it out? That is kind of like not really the question, that's not, there's no answer to that. I think we just figured it out, and I think it was just something that just happened naturally. And then okay, so this is who I am here, and okay, this is who he is here, and okay, so like you let go, and then you continue because you let go, and then because I feel like and that's when it hit me. I was like, no, 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 Pettigrew, you look up to this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like you look up to the, but at first I didn't know that. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
Who? Like you
I'm
said, who are
so glad
you?
you brought this up because I literally
Yeah,
wanted to talk about like the hierarchy here. Like it's you two, you all are the muscle, but at times you get Chance always criticizing Pettigrew in his planning, but Chance is the person who can hold Bumpy to the fire, which we see a lot of in season 4. He says, I'm gonna call it straight up," which you two have some magical scenes together. I just let me give you a props for working with Forrest Whitaker eye to eye, man. Y'all are having some fantastic moment. And then we know where the story goes with Frank Lucas. So it's like, how does this one person comes in, jumps over you two and Junie Bird, and then all of a sudden becomes his right hand? This hierarchy, if you can just end off with this, folks, how do you really vision this hierarchy of the three of you all plus Frank Lucas coming down? Or like, how did you really figure out the position? I know you were going on with it, but I just want to make sure that was sort of in my question there.
Well, I hope you're not giving any secrets away, man. I mean,
Well, we
uh,
seen American Gangster. We read the history book, so
yeah, that's
we know
true.
where it eventually ends. It's just a matter of how do we get to that point because you got two dudes who are 10 toes down at any given point. How
Yeah.
did we jump the ladder here? So if you maybe can give a little bit of buzzwords or tips or hints or anything in terms of how do we get to that point? What happens? I don't know. Do we find out? The excitement is in the air.
Yeah, well, first of all, we have to start with history. We know what history is. You can't change history. History is what history is, right? So everyone knows the history of Bumpy Johnson and Frank Lucas. We all know that for a fact. Now, the dramatization of that, all comes down to the showrunner, to our showrunner, Chris Picotto.
Yes, sir.
He has done a fantastic job creating a story with excitement,
Yeah.
and clear, defined a vision, for these characters. And he's done that, with all the characters on the show. Everybody has their own storyline. No one's forgotten, and you follow them, and you love them, and you listen, and you lead, and you enjoy, the progression of the stories. I mean, from Mamie to Elise to
Yeah.
Stella. I mean, to Chin. I mean, Pettigrew. I mean, Del Champ. We all have our own stories and our own lives, and Chris has stayed true to that. So, the interesting part of season 4 is watching the dramatization of from Frank Lucas coming into the show at the beginning of season 4 to where we end up at the end of season 4. It's a fantastic journey, and all props go to the writer.
All right. I appreciate it there. Well, gentlemen, I've been waiting so long to talk to you both. Thank you again for all your contributions to the show. It's amazing. This season is just ramping up. Things are getting crazy. I've seen a lot of it, so I didn't want to give anything away. But man, what a moment! And also, y'all car seat with the cement truck and everything. Holy hell, that was cool as shit. I just wanted to tell you that. But Eric and Elvis, thank you so much for your time. And folks, Godfather of Harlem season 4 on MGM Plus and Prime Video. It's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you, Najee. You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Ridiculous.